Ding ding, fight fans. That's the wrap on the conversation with such a legend, Brady Leavold. And we are welcoming back in our spiritual brother, Ben. Namaste, brother. Thank you so much for being here again. How the hell are you, man? How are you feeling after listening to that conversation?
I feel alive. Brady inspired not just like the healed version, the healing version of me, but the version of me that didn't know what the fuck he was getting into yet. It was just such a gentle yet jarring reminder that we're all going through and have gone through so much in our lives and that we're not alone. So I just want to say first and foremost, huge thank you to Brady for spending time with us, sharing his journey authentically, and being such a positive light in this world. I just want to say thank you to him. Thank you, brother. You are a wonderful human and you're helping so many.
Mm. And the time he gave us with his, his busy life, his family, all the stuff he's doing on the ice, his love affair with hockey is coming full circle, as a child and now as an adult, he gets to go back out there and get lost in the stick handling. And I think it's so cool. Like, I just know about this personally with him, Ben, is like all that time stick handle as a kid, he gets to do that now where he just sets a time some sides and just stick handles and does all those puck tricks. And it's just like he's back when he's a kid, just getting out of it, but he gets to go in to help kids now. He's the adult showing up and creating space like he so passionately talked about.
Well, that was part of his identity for so long. And you create a bunch of tricks and a bunch of, we'll call it like energy inside of that identity. And I think one thing he touched on was so much is when that identity started to feel fake and he started to talk about how that identity wasn't really him anymore because he was battling so much. And I think what he's talking about now, which is so cool, is revisiting that from a place of, we're going to call it evolution, an evolved state of coming back and having the love and the joy and the appreciation for once what was an identity, his life. And now it's coming from a place of just like a sense of just being in that moment. And I think it's so beautiful. I'm so happy he shared that.
Mm. And it just so brought up in me, not having the same upbringing. We all have a different, unique path, but I just worship sports as religion growing up, and I had no idea. Like, it wasn't just hockey, people. It was everything. I never learned to like change a tire or like build a shed in the backyard. It was just either play basketball, play road hockey, play on the ice, play baseball. It was just sports. And what he spoke about when, he went away, and it was like, wow, this is harder. There's really good players out here, and they're older and they're meaner. And I've always played so hard, and now they're all ganging up on me and butt ending me. And he just like, screw this. I can remember when hockey wouldn't go well, when sports wouldn't go well, I would just run to the next thing because that escape, that safe place would get a little tarnished and go, ooh, I'd run away to food, which I'm going to talk about a lot more in the book, and other things that became my vices.
You know what's funny? Oh, it's not necessarily funny. It's when your safe place no longer feels safe anymore, you don't know where to go. And he touched on that. It was when hockey no longer felt safe, he had no idea where to go. I think a lot of us work through those type of things is we have coping mechanisms, healthy and non-healthy. And when those things no longer feel like they're serving us or getting us out of those negative headspaces, we don't know what to do. And realizing that it wasn't the thing that was providing us a safety. It was us all along. So when those things start to feel like intruders, or they start to feel like those space starts to feel like the bully itself, it's remembering that, not demonizing whether it be hockey or the food, or it's our relationship at the moment to it. And I think he did a great job of talking about that. You talk about that consistently. It's when it feels like it's becoming the enemy, I think we have to step back and realize, like, ask ourselves, why does this feel like it's becoming the enemy? Because it's not trying to attack me, it's trying to teach me something.
So fascinating. Like, being able to, you just have that ego come up and be like, man, I wish I could have seen that. But like, that's such a clue for anyone out there listening. Like, if you're playing something that is your happy place, a sport, but then it starts to not feel that way, it's such a clue into why are you actually playing the sport? I talk to kids all the time and they ask me, how does my parents or kids, how does my daughter make the PWHL? How does my son make the NHL? It's like, why do you want to make it there anyway?
Hmm.
What is that? And it's always this ladder. It's fun. Okay, well, what's fun about it? Well, I get lost in it. Well, what does that feel like? Well, I kind of disappear. And it's like, huh, So are you playing because you like the sport or you like the result it gives you? And they always look at me like, huh. And it's like, yeah. So we're like, it's so, as a coach, that's what you want to point people back to. But when you're in it and that veil is over you and all you know is the blinders of sport is kind of my painkiller for all the shit I deal with, it's pretty hard to see it.
A pretty common term, shadow work, right? And you were touching a little bit on it, and I call it the why game. It's when you're looking to find your shadows and maybe understand them a little bit better, you just keep asking yourself why. And you really touched on it there, talking about why do you love the game? Well, I love it because it provides me freedom or it's fun. Why does it provide you freedom and why does it feel fun? Well, when I'm out there, I'm in this state of flow. I'm in this, there, I don't really think too much. Well, why does that feel safe? Well, because maybe when I'm at home, things are tough and difficult. And then you even go, why is it difficult and stuff at home? And it sounds like common sense as you're just trying to be a detective and figure it out. But there's something at the base of this. There's a root of all these things. And once you understand that, you realize you have nothing to fix. You have something to build a relationship with, a better understanding with. And because that's the thing, you talk about sports as a painkiller, you've been trying to numb yourself from that thing. And as Brady so graciously shared, and you've talked about, is that pain comes back and it comes back 10 times worse because it's been ignored for so long. It's just like an emotion. If it doesn't get recognized or honored or felt, it gets bigger, it gets badder, it gets stronger. And you start to realize you're not bigger, badder, and stronger than it. It was just, and the whole time it just wanted to be understood, felt, and heard. And I think that's what we talk about, is getting to that why, and why you're doing all this type of stuff is such a crucial step in this self-development and healing process.
And people are going to get sick of it maybe on After the Bell, but it's for a reason, people. Why is it up there on the wall? Why can you see it in the background here? Awareness. If you don't have the awareness of something, you cannot work at it. That's where we're constantly going to be pointing you back here to, because it's changed everything I know for myself. And just to be aware of these things, to ask those questions. It's so heavy. That voice is so loud in our heads. And like what we like to call the ego, and all of our personal discussions, Ben, we have offline, is this part of the journey where you really have to understand it's not about killing this ego. It's like you said, it's about building a relationship with it. What you avoid will only grow. What you feel will pass through. It's that buffalo in the storm thing again. The cows run away from the storm, it follows them, it grows, it terrifies them. The buffalo just walks straight through that thing. And that's what we're talking about. But you need the awareness, the intellectual first, then the embodied integration through meditation, through different practices that allow you to go, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. Oh, don't run away again. Lean in, lean in. And it's a repetition, just like your slap shot, wrist shot, anything, people.
It's what you feed grows stronger, exactly like you said. And ignoring something is feeding it. It's giving it attention by the fear of it. And remember, we like to talk about what's fear. It's false evidence appearing real, right? And so when you're giving this false evidence more power by giving it even the attention to be something you have to ignore to be able to cope with, it sits there and it starts getting bigger. It starts feeling stronger and it says, okay, well, to get to you, I need to get louder. I'm going to now disguise myself as your ego, as part of your identity, as part of all of these things that you identify as, because now we're going to just interject into your life where we're going to start becoming interwoven in everything you do, everything you become, everything you say. You're going to become it. Where if you become like the buffalo and you realize, I'm not scared of it. It's just hard. It's just something that I'm uncomfortable with because I can't predict safety right now. But I'm going to learn faith and belief, self-development, self-love, self-kindness, compassion, all of these things through this journey, through being the bull and going through the storm. You're going to realize that the whole time it was there to teach you about love, kindness, strength. All of those lessons you had to dig deep for. It was your teacher the whole time.
It's just so wild who we are conditioned to just pain, run, awful things. No, get away, escape, whether it's movies, media, social, everything it's about run away. And that's what sells to people, the easy route, the quick results. And that's what we got to start changing this narrative around here, especially on After the Bell, on this Fight Plan podcast ecosystem, that we look forward to that pain. And it sounds paradoxical. I know it's going to trigger alarm bells in your head, but anything you've done in your life, you've had to get uncomfortable to progress in. And let's look at where we're sitting. We're all getting through it. It may not have been fun, but looking back, the dots always connect, and that's how you make progress. You work through things. And I'm just finding personally in my own journey, like the more I lean into this pain, the more love just bursts out from behind it, man.
Well, I'm so glad you brought light to it. It was when someone hears look forward to the pain, they instantly want to be like, shut up.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand that feeling. I've certainly been that person that tries to nitpick all the little things and try to get on top of somebody for being like, you don't know what you're talking about, yada, yada, yada. But recognizing that that's part of the relationship, that's the fear coming up. That's the response of, I'm not in a healthy space with the things, my teachers. I'm not in a healthy, it's just like a coach, right? I think Brady touched on it great. I wish there was more leading through building up and enlightenment and building people up while still being able to teach. But that fear is a teacher. It's trying to show you it's not real, but it keeps appearing more and more real so you can continue to go into it. So everyone's on there. You don't have to sit there and start jumping for joy and be like, I'm so excited to go through all this shit. It's recognizing that when shit starts hitting the fan, all you need is the awareness to go, I'm learning right now. That's it. That is it. It's not going to feel good. You're not going to sit there and feel like you're having fun at Six Flags or something with your friends. It's that moment of awareness is going, I'm about to learn so much right now, and it's probably going to be more difficult than I'd like it to be.
And athletes out there, anybody who's had to be in any kind of shape to play a sport or had to do conditioning drills at the end of practice or before a season, that I used to feel it the night before I went to bed. I'm like, oh God, I gotta run hills on Saturday morning. I gotta ride that Satan assault bike. It's gonna feel like my quads are skins peeling off my body, and I would get all this fear and this buildup. I would eat my morning smoothie and I'd get a stomach ache. I'd get there, I'd still be digesting, and I got to get on and rip this thing. And then I'd put everything into it. I'd feel the pain. It would be god awful. And then I would stop and I'd collapse on the ground. And we could say there's another type of clarity, but this is like post-workout clarity. It's just like, it's gone already. It's gone. What was I worried about? We've all been there, but we get sucked back into the illusion of like, oh no, the next pain's coming. That's why we have to do this work. We have to create this space, as Viktor Frankl says in Life, Our Man's Search for Meaning, between stimulus and response to know, okay, I've been here before. I can sit in this unknown space and I always get through it. Because if we run, and I can speak from my personal experience, you run from feeling that pain, it leads to vice, it leads to addiction, it leads you farther away from the path. And just like you said with a coach, you don't have a good relationship with your teacher, your coach, your season's going to fall apart. Your career's going to fall apart. You have to lean into these relationships.
Think about this. You talk about that anticipation, right? It's your mind was in far more pain for far longer than it had to be, because how long did that physical pain last? Maybe an hour and a half, intermittently, right? It wasn't every single moment. You may have been tired and stuff like that, but that feeling of being gassed, the muscles being tight, sucking wind, all of those things last for a really short time in comparison of the 12, 13, 14 hours compounded over years and practices. Just think about, like, I forget who said it. It was probably Jesus, or it could have been an Alan Watts quote, but like, we never felt better through worrying. Worrying never solved anything. So the more you're worrying about things, you're just putting more attention and more awareness and more focus on the problem instead of that feeling you talk about at the end of like feeling good about yourself, feeling accomplished. We worry so much about the pain, we forget to put our awareness on those payoffs, the good feelings, the things we do it for. Because I think our society really trained us to focus on all the bad shit, complain a lot more, put so much more fear-based stuff instead of focusing on like, hey, this is going to make you feel better than you've ever felt before in your life.
It's the conditioning, man. But I think we see this trend I mean, we had it with Cody Bass. I think we're going to continue to see it. If you study things like we do, people, it's very clear when people go through trials like Brady Leavold has, there's not many folks who are not going to say that they're doing a bit better because of finding some sort of higher power. And that means whatever it means to you. It doesn't mean rediscovering his faith in Christianity like Brady. It doesn't mean you have to go to the India and do a trek through the Himalayas. Like, it's about whatever that means to you. But there's a clear trend in the literature, in history, of people finding something bigger than themselves. And what a quote he dropped that his friend told him, right? The meaning of life is giving life meaning. So what you just spoke about there, Ben, it's like, let's be aware of these issues we're dealing, but then give meaning to, I'm going to give meaning to the pain. I'm going to give meaning to the tough things because I trust in something bigger than myself. And that comes through, Brady talked about his intuition. That comes with experience. I was a younger man thinking, I don't need to have experience to figure things out. You start to see that your intuition was telling you something and you went against it and it didn't go so well. It seems to be that every time that gut feeling comes and you go with it, things tend to work out a little bit better.
It became your teacher, right? He said, give life meaning. Well, that means there's going to be pain, but what's the pain? What's the pain for? Not what's the pain doing to me? What's the pain teaching me? And I do this on calls all the time. I'll sit there and I'll 100% empathize with, I know you don't want to do this right now. I know it sounds stupid. I know you're going to want to tell me to piss off or whatever it is. And you're allowed to, but we're going to accomplish the task together because that's why we're here. And I go, if you had to pick 5 things to why this is what this is teaching, well, how's this happening for you? Just give me 5 and we'll sit here for however long it takes. We'll find them together. I'll help you brainstorm. But the whole thing is helping you get there on your own. And without fail, every single time after the first 10, 15, 20 seconds, we start finding stuff. And then all I say is, the only difference now is you believe one to be true, but they all exist. They all have equal probability of being true. You were just taught one is true. And then you kept feeding that. Well, what if we started feeding this a little bit more? How would we feed that? And now all of a sudden people start building up this artistic picture of what that belief looks like, how they can go about it, not how I tell them to go about it. It's what can they do? And all of a sudden, the whole secret sauce of it all is they start to see that, oh my gosh, I've just been feeding a beast the entire time. I have a choice in where to put my awareness. And I think it's such an incredible gift to be in people's arena, helping them find this light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, this doesn't have to rule my life anymore. It's incredible.
Oh, so good, dude. And the WhatsApp community this week, people, my WhatsApp community, our WhatsApp community, it was just that what we talked about right there. We put out a call to anybody who wanted to sit down, take some breaths, and write out their story in 300 words minimum of what narrative they were living and believing right now. Not read it out loud, just write it out and then read it, and then sit the same, do some breathing again, and then just write the exact opposite, right? What you want to be living, their dream life right now in the same way, and then read that one out loud later and say it twice a day when you wake up in the morning, you go to bed. And Erica from our group did it, and the share she had and read it out loud to her group. It was so beautiful because you start to see like, oh my gosh, I am the one creating and giving life this meaning with this narrative I'm living right now. And I don't have to do that. I just need the awareness to know that I am. Now consciously choose. And if you put yourself in that unconscious story, you can put yourself in a conscious one and you have full control of it. But there's a guilt that goes with that, of that we have to work through that. But then you lean into what you want to see happen, what you want to see manifest, and you start living from that place. And that exercise, people, can change everything.
That's a beautiful exercise. It lines up so perfectly with, things me and you talk about offline, but how everything is just from the field of probability. And until we collapse our awareness on it, it becomes reality. That's not just made up. That's quantum physics. And I'm certainly not the person to explain to you the depths of quantum physics, but I'll call myself a hobbyist. And it's incredible because you realize that the outside world doesn't impact our inside world. It's our inside world actually creates the outside world. And without going to wavelengths and all of these type of things, it's realizing that until you understand what feeling and being and acting like that aligned version of yourself is, you're never going to know what's different than what it is now. So a great step is exactly what Gabe's is talking about. Deciding what it looks like, feels like, acts like to be that version of yourself. And then most importantly, what does it feel like? You'll hear me say this all the time. If you don't know what happiness, peace, joy, love, compassion, and all of these things that you're looking for look like, they can knock on your door hundreds and hundreds of times, and you will slam the door in their face because you said, I'm waiting for compassion. I'm waiting for love. And they've been there the whole time. You just didn't know what they looked like, how they showed up, where they're already present, and what they feel like for you.
Oh, so good, dude. We're just playing love and light tennis right now because, dude, that's what it's all about. We have to change before the reflection changes. And this analogy blew my mind when I heard it. It's like we're all in life when we're unconscious, and we've all been there. We're looking in a mirror and we're seeing this unhappy person, and then you got an itch on your face. But instead of just itching your own face and putting a smile on, you're trying to scratch the itch in the mirror and trying to find a happy person in that reflection. Would anybody ever scratch an itch in a mirror? It's absolutely ludicrous. You scratch it on your face, you smile because you satisfied the itch, then the reflection shares that with you. You see it after you change. Life's not going to give you these happy moments. It's going to give you opportunities to realize them. Like you said, opportunities to embody them. We all just are conditioned to want quick and easy in this social media era and the dopamine addiction era. We have to have this conscious awareness, and surrounding yourselves with conversations like this, like me and Ben surround each other with friends. It points you back to these things.
You are so spot on that we are living in a world that we think we need a certain result in a certain amount of time, and realizing the greatest thing you can realize in this journey is that there is no finish line to this. This is a forever eternity thing. And you'll have fallbacks. And then what will happen there is you're going to realize, hey, this fallback felt a little bit higher than my last one. That's what we talk about in coaching. What we talk about in our course is what we talk about together. It's, hey, each time you feel like you fall backwards, the goal is to raise your floor, So your floor is now what once was your ceiling. And you're going to feel like that's the bottom of your barrel now at some point that you were praying to get to what your now basement is. And I think that's the biggest thing, is realizing that. And then that basement is going to become another like you're going to continue to keep growing through this stuff. But remember, like, you want this to happen in a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. Like, plan forever. So each small step is the next biggest step you can take.
This is so beautiful, man. And I want to bring it back to Brady here and give him his flowers, because sometimes we need to step back and say, look how well we are doing. There's nothing wrong with that. Brady, could you imagine you pulled him from when he's on the streets of Hastings in the midst of his drug addiction? You go, dude, you're going to get to a point where you actually burn yourself out from helping too many people.
Right.
And he would have been like, I'm getting all my hair standing up. He'd be like, what? And that's where he got to, a home in Muskoka, making an income, doing what he loves, with a family, with new children. And he's going, damn, I'm staying up all night trying to help people because I felt like I was so hurt. But then he's making that new breakthrough through the ceiling of, Brady, you're going through a new ceiling. And now you're telling him, dude, you're going to get to a point where you just put your oxygen mask on first, and you know that you showing up as you in every present moment is the ultimate gift that you could ever give. Not running around every DM in social media, being where your boots are, man, and being a light.
Remember, old patterns are going to surface in old ways, and they're going to disguise themselves as old feelings. And whether that be Brady going through what feels like burnout now, right? Because you've been so mission and purpose driven for so long that, oh my God, I'll break it to you, everyone. Helping people can feel really exhausting, because you put so much energy into helping so many that, once again, you forget to put your oxygen mask on. You forget what it was like to get up. Because remember, no one was really relying on him or us at those moments. It was, we had to strap up the skates, or we had to strap up the bootstraps and do it ourselves without, having to worry about other people relying on us. Now, when all of the lights are on you, and when you're trying to do all these things, there's these added pressures, and you forget what you did, and all these old patterns of maybe self-worth pop up, or old feelings and old pulls to go certain places with certain people to do certain things. And that can be in Brady's case in addiction, that can be in your case in going to hang out with a toxic ex, or not speaking you person, but like our viewer, whatever that shows up for you. Just recognize everything is a pattern, but you have the tools, and all it is awareness to recognize. And then from there, it's a choice on which beast you want to feed. Right behind Gabe's, which one do you want to feed?
Oh, dude, it's so good. So good. And personal share here, I'm reading Michael Singer, who's my greatest teacher's new book, Wisdom Untethered. And it's just a collection of like the 200 most asked questions of him. And he answers them in like max 4 paragraphs. So it's so succinct and so powerful. And someone just said, what's true trust and surrender in life look like? Like, how do you, you just put that in 2 sentences kind of thing. And he's like, I got you. And he's like, true surrender, and this is where the higher power comes in. This is where you see the pattern Ben's talking about happen over and over again. You keep leaning in. If you keep leaning in over and over again, you will get to a point, he says, where you realize, 1, that everything is happening exactly how it's supposed to for you. Couldn't possibly not, and for everyone around you. And 2, that no matter what that brings, you will be able to handle it, and not just handle it, thrive through it. And people, that is a life you can live. And it's like having the blueprint is just written in your blood, in your DNA. You just have to have the awareness and do the work through repetition, just like working on a wrist shot, slap shot, a punch, to realize it. And it's there for all of us for the taking.
It's presenting itself to you now, because now you're ready to handle it. You may not feel like it is. You may not feel like you're ready, but it didn't present itself before because you weren't ready then. It's here now in this present moment, because that's all we have is this present moment, because you are now ready to handle, work through, thrive through it, and then turn around and help others as well. It doesn't have to be through podcasting or teaching or social media. It can be helping a sister, a brother, a mom, a dad in minute moments of each day. You're going to have an understanding of the greater consciousness of what others are experiencing, because you chose to be the bull, walk through the storm, learn through it, and then become a teacher and a safe place to land yourself. And Gabe's, I'm so appreciative of you sharing that, Michael Singer, because I think that rings so true for so many of us going through that today.
Thank you, brother. Beautiful reflection back. And that's where Brady is right now, people. 9 days ago, having a breakthrough, coming on our podcast to share. He wanted to dive down the old patterns of negativity. And we're like, dude, let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's lean into what you got going on now. But that's the undulations. These are the waves that we ride, people. And who knows what it's going to be like when we have Brady on in the future. Maybe another year from now, a year into the Fight Plan podcast, we check in with Brady and we can look back on this after the bell. We can stitch it together and do like a longer episode so people who haven't seen it. Who knows which lesson he'll be on then, which new breakthrough he'll be on the cusp of. But dude, these are just getting more fun, aren't they?
They are, dude. It's such an honor to be able to do this and celebrate the people we have on, celebrate ourselves, celebrate you, celebrate our viewers. And if you have anything going on in your life, or especially specifically in the hockey world, check out, was it Puck Support? Brady's foundation and what they have been doing and stuff like that, just to have resources like Puck Support and Brady himself and stuff like that. And it's so incredible. So thankful for all the work he's doing in the sport of hockey and beyond, because it's reaching so much farther than hockey. And I just want to say thank you. But if you're viewing this and someone's struggling and maybe they don't know where to go, Puck Support's a great place to take a look and see all what Brady's doing. So I just want to say big thanks to Brady and Puck Support and everything they're doing.
Amen, brother. And hey, people, he may not get back to you right away, but he says he still goes through those messages. So it's just part of your journey that, hey, if you send him something deep and looking for a response, he'll answer right in the perfect timing that he's supposed to. So know that he's doing his best. We're all doing our best out here. And thank you so much for tuning in another episode of After the Bell. That's a wrap, people, on the Brady Leavold episode. Thank you.
Send love, everybody.